Is the Progressive Abian Youth very special civic engagement program tagged Walk to Good Governance, and it's a special edition featuring Chief Chimezie, who is the APC candidate for Ohafia Arochukwu Federal Constituency. Before we get into the business of the day, I would like to invite Ms. Blessing to lead us in honoring our nation, Nigeria, and our state, Abian, with the national anthem and Abia state anthem. So let's be all standing as we take the anthem.
For Abians to know us and to also know what we are doing. My name is High Chief Daniel Chimezie Okeke. I am from Ubila Ututu in Arochukwu local government. I am the APC candidate for Federal House of Rep representing Arochukwu Federal Constituency.
All right, thank you so much for that introduction, Chief. We're very, very glad to be here. And we were represented, and we've had this culture of cultivating leadership traits, leadership skills, and civic awareness among the young people, because we believe that youth are the future of the country. And the tomorrow that we're talking about, saying that leaders are that youth are leaders of tomorrow, that tomorrow is here and we cannot wait any longer. So this engagement is to find out why you are running for office, who you are, know you better, get to share your ideals and ideologies with not just youths of Ohafia and Arochukwu Federal Constituency, but all the members of that constituency who are watching us live and are connected to this particular program. So we want to know your background. Where are you from? You said you're from Arochukwu, but what is your background? Do you have a background in business? What has been your story? How have you been able to navigate the very, very tumultuous waters of life? And what basically is your foundation? The youth want to know, and the members of the constituency are also interested in knowing.
It's a very good one. Just like I said, I am from Ubila Ututu in Arochukwu local government. Ubila Ututu is a community in Arochukwu, a well-known community. You asked me about my background. My background wasn't a good one because I was 7 months when my mother died, and I was 12 years when my father died. So you can see that my background wasn't a good one. I can say I was born with a wooden spoon because I saw it all. I suffered. Somebody who lost their mother at that age. it wasn't really easy for me. I managed to finish my secondary school when my father died. I was just 12 years, like I said, and I was in JSS 1, about to go into JSS 2. So there was no hope for me. I couldn't pay my fees. I was always the last to pay his school fees. And the most painful part was that I was trekking like 20 kilometers to my school every day. And before I could get to my school, they may have finished their first and second lesson. But one shocking thing was that at the end of the day, if I don't get second, I'll get third position in my class. So that pushed my teachers to start paying my fees then, until my father's gratuity was able to get to us. So I just managed to finish secondary school. And when I finished, that was all for me, and there was no other hope, because I knew what I went through to even finish the secondary school. So I lost hope of furthering my education. And then I went to Port Harcourt. My uncle asked me to come to Port Harcourt. It might surprise you to hear that two people borrowed me transport to go to Port Harcourt. I'm giving you this background so that you know where I'm coming from. Somebody gave me 25 naira, and my cousin gave me 20 naira, which is 45 naira. And I entered what we do call the 911 truck, which took me to Aba. And then I entered the Ekulobia bus that took me to Port Harcourt. There I was engaged in the business of clearing and forwarding. But you know, when God has destined you to be great, nobody can stop it. As I was learning the business of clearing and forwarding, I met somebody who never met me, who never knew my dad, who is not even from my state. But he just saw me and said I resembled the son. And that was a miracle. And each time I get to his office, he will just do the job for me without asking for anything. So one day he called somebody and said, "Look at this boy, Dad. He resembles my son, Ike." And I remember telling him something. I said, "Dad, it's not easy for a poor man to resemble your son." That was a senior custom officer then at the Port Harcourt International Airport. I said, "It's not easy for somebody, a poor man, to resemble your son. So you must do something." And he told me something. He said, "From now henceforth, you are my son. Whatever I do for my son, I do for you." And that was the starting point for me. He took me to companies, told them that I was the son. With his position, I was able to secure an employment with a company which was number one in shipping and logistics, called Panapina World Transport. And then the rest is history. Today, I have a shipping firm, a bonded terminal. I've been able to diversify into hospitality. I can say I have the second largest hotel in Port Harcourt. I'm also into construction. So, because of my background, you ask me why I'm running. Because of my background, I was forced to humble myself. Because I know that wherever I am today is not because of my hard work, but because of the grace of God. And if you check my antecedent, if you check my achievements all these years, they speak for me. And I do it with my heart, I do it with joy, knowing fully well that I do not want people to pass through what I went through in life. I know what poverty is all about because I passed through it. And that differentiates me from other contestants. I can tell you that I've been able to touch lives. I've been able to touch lives in my community. I've been able to empower the youth. There are people that have been sent outside this country that are doing well. There are people that are in school that are paying their fees. There are people that empower the youth. Then the widows, the women, I always tell them that they are the mothers I don't have. So I don't joke with women because they are the mothers I don't have. So I take them like my mothers. I do take care of them. Last time, 2 years ago, I went into the Facebook account where a woman was living in a hut that even a dog cannot live. In fact, it was my wife that called my attention to it. And you see, that is why it's good to have a good wife too. If you have a good wife, it goes a long way to help strengthen your life, fashion your everything you do. I was say, that woman is from Ututu. Have you seen that? How can a woman live in that place? And I called my media team. They went to the place, and it was palatable. It was pitiable, I tell you. But within 2 months, we were able to raise a house for her. And I told her, Mom, you are now my mother. So these are one of those things we are doing. And talking about infrastructure development, I have done all that. In my place, I can boldly say that I have built schools, I have built town halls, I have dug borehole, I have bought transformers, I have electrified my place, I have built customary court and donated to Abian state government. I didn't just build, I built and I furnished the place. I have also built ICT center. So for the past 5 years, I have been doing what we call free medical outreach that covers the 2 local governments, Aruchukwu and Ohafia. I didn't do this thing because I want to contest election, but I did them because it's in me. And I do believe that whatever you do, God will surely bless you. My father was very good and generous, but I never got those blessings, those rewards from people around us. But somebody somewhere who never knew him, who is not even from my place, paid him back. So that is my consolation whenever I do things for people. I don't expect reward from them because I know if I don't get it, my children will get it.
All right, thank you so much, Chief. You've given us a very, very, very robust information about the background. And you've actually gone ahead to also, you've taken some of the words out of our mouth because we wanted to ask your motivation for running for office. But you've clearly told us that the fact that you had this very humble background and very humble beginning motivated you to to aspire to run to,
get. But I haven't even answered that. I can still answer that.
All right. So if you can give us more information about
if you ask me why I'm running, that's why I started by giving you this background before you cut me short. So what I'm saying, with all these things that I have done, I found out that it's not enough. No matter how much you have, there is no way you can touch everybody around you. But I noticed that if you are in government, if you have the opportunity of being in government, because I tell you, from my mind, from my heart, I hate politics. I don't like politics. I can say it anyway. Because of the way they behave. They are liars. They speak, what they say is not what is in their mind. So I hated politics. But because there is no way this passion in me can be extended to everybody around me with my little resources, that is what got me interested in politics. Because I know if I go there, there are a lot of opportunities that we are going to have for the youth, for the women, for the men, infrastructure development, which we are lacking in our place. So that is what got me involved in politics. And I always tell people, if I have any other intention, I shouldn't succeed. That is my only intention. And I challenge other candidates. If they have done what I have done with my personal resources, they should go and take the seat. Otherwise, they are not supposed to be there. Because enough is enough. The youth have suffered. I always tell people, why are you blaming the youth? They are going into robbery, they are going into Yahoo, they are going into kidnapping. Why are you blaming them? I don't blame the youth. I blame the system. I blame the government. If they had given them meaningful employment and empowerment, they won't be able to do all that they are doing. Because the Bible says, an idle man is the devil's workshop. Because if you are busy, you won't have time to think of evil. So these are the reasons why I got involved in politics. Nothing more than that. I want to enter there and get the opportunity of empowering the youth in the 2 local governments. I want to go there and get the opportunity of empowering the women. Our women, I weep for them. Some of them will sell their wrappers to train their children. And these children, instead of them to pay back to train the women back, pay them back, they will come back to the house and they will still depend on their parents. It's a taboo. So I want to go in there and see how I can empower these women, make sure they have something they are doing. I want to go there and see how I can empower the youth and also get meaningful employment for them. There are a lot of opportunities, a lot of slots given to the National Assembly every year. Some of them sell it. What do they do with it? So I want a situation whereby 50% of our youth are gainfully employed. Some who are not employed are empowered. There are a lot of opportunities from the federal government. So many of them. If you get close, you understand what I'm saying. So many opportunities that the youth can have, and they will empower themselves, and they will be independent. And all this menace, all this robbery, all this kidnapping will stop. That is it.
Okay, thank you again. I mean, the information you've given us about the motivation behind your running for office is crystal clear, and we appreciate the fact that you've taken time to list all your achievements, or majority of your achievements, and also inform the youth and members of Arochukwu Federal constituency that you've been doing some of this work before now, and you are more or less interested in advancing the cause of the ordinary man, ordinary woman in that particular constituency. So to further this engagement, I would want to invite Glory, who is the chairman of our Civic Engagement Committee, to maybe throw one or two questions and also get your feedback on that.
Good evening, sir. Once again.
Good evening, Glory.
Okay, so I just want to ask, pertaining the discussions you had on your background and motivation. So, have you had any political office you've held once or anything? And what are your activities pertaining the office you held or the progresses you've done in the office?
I just told you that I hate politics. That means I have never held any political office all my life. But like I said, the issue of empowerment, employment is already in me. I have that passion. I just want to extend it by going into political office. But for office, for holding office, I have never held any office all my life.
So, you mentioned things you've done in your places. Exceptional from that, what are some of the problems you've noticed in your constituency presently, or of your local government, that if you are being permitted to become an office holder, now what are those things particularly you would do?
My passion, my main passion, apart from infrastructural development, which I'm going to do, which we are lacking, my main passion is youth, employment, and empowerment. Because when you take the youth out of the streets, you have peace of mind. Okay. The second one is women empowerment. Because when women are engaged, a nation has been engaged as well. So these are the core things I'm going to do when I enter there. I'm not saying I'm not going to go into infrastructure. That is the main thing we are going to do too. It's also part of what we are going to do to make sure that we have infrastructure like road construction, health centers, water and solar and everything, electricity, all those things. We are going to do that. But for me, those things are not the main thing. Those things are important. Yes, we need them. But what is more important to me is how I can engage the youth and make sure they are busy. How I can engage the women and make sure they are busy, including the men, which we have the opportunities and the avenues for that. And we are going to do that.
All right, thank you. Just to follow up on that particular question, we've had over time when political candidates and aspirants tell us that they're going to do this, they're going to do that, but don't tell us how they're going to do it and how they are going to raise the resources. Because, of course, as a businessman, you understand that once you have a project, once you have a plan, once you have a program, the very vital aspect of that program design and arrangement is resource mobilization. So now, at this critical time in our history, Nigeria is bleeding. I'm sure you must be aware of the fact that we're running deficit. We're no longer able to service our debt. In fact, we borrow to service debt. And the resources that were in abundance before now are no longer available. Of course, you must have also heard about the continuous crude oil theft, and all those issues that has plagued our society. But outside identifying these issues or these concepts that you want to implement, how do you think, or how are you going to generate the resources that is required to carry out these projects, which we feel are applaudable?
Thank you very much. It's a good one. The problem we have in Nigeria is that we are running a mono economy. That's a major problem we have. If we engage much in agriculture, Nigeria will be better. And we have so many agricultural agencies, which I am going to engage when I go there. And I tell you, there are so many opportunities in agriculture. And that's where I'm going to engage the youth and the women. So many opportunities, so many agencies of government that are into agriculture. There's so many opportunities that has not been tapped. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tap into all that and make sure that I bring them down to the 2 local governments. Some of these agencies can be extended to the local government, whereby the youth can be gainfully employed. The women can be gainfully employed, even the men. So that's my plan.
All right. Again, it's very, very important that we're having this conversation. People are really, really interested in what Chief Chimeze is selling. People are really interested to know the critical plans you have to implement this particular aspiration. And so when you come to Arochukwu is blessed with some monuments. Arochukwu can be the hub of tourism in Abian State, if not Southeast, because of some of the generational or some of the very, 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 very interesting sites in Arochukwu. But there's this popular saying that and you talked about agriculture. Essentially, one of the major issues that Arochukwu is having is bad road network. And I'm happy that you've kept re-emphasizing your interest in your interest in infrastructure. But that is a very, very critical aspect, because if there is no good road to move the goods from the farm to the market, then that particular enterprise is not going to be successful, because people are going to do more subsistence farming more than commercial farming, because the channel of distribution is not there. So what do you think should be, or how are you going to come in to solve that problem? Because you are going to be a lawmaker, and your job majorly will be in lawmaking, policy advocacy, and bills promotion and all of that. So we've also observed over time that most of the constituency allowances accrued to federal constituencies in Abia State are not effectively managed. They're not even accounted for. So what are you going to do differently to ensure that some of these allowances that are accrued to these constituencies are effectively used, particularly in developing this agriculture, which we are very passionate about, and essentially the infrastructure that is required to make agriculture productive and very, very favorable to the people of Arochukwu and Okeke constituency?
Thank you very much. The difference between politicians and businessmen is very clear and obvious. If you are involved in business, I can tell you that when you go into politics, you perform differently. But if you have not been in politics, if you have not been in business and you go into politics, the first thing in your mind, which I always tell people, is to enrich yourself. I always tell people, I say, come to my village, come to my house. When you see my house, you will agree with me that I am not going there to build another house in my village. This is my house in Omoahia. I barely come here. But I built this house as my own contribution for the state. How many times do I come here in a year, apart from this election period? So if I go into public office, am I going to build another house here? The answer is no. I'm going to Abuja, I have a house in Abuja. If I go to Abuja, I'm not going to build another house. So you see, with all these things which differentiate me from others, I'm going to focus more on how to develop my constituents. Because I have gotten to a stage where money doesn't move me anymore. I have seen it all. My major concern now is to make a name for myself. But some other politicians you can verify. As soon as they enter, they want to build house. They want to buy cars. They want to be seen. They want to show themselves. I have seen all that. I have passed through other stages of life. What I'm going to do is to make name for myself. Coming to road infrastructure, road development, there are so many agencies. From my experience as a businessman, you know, when I talk with experience. I talk with what I know, not what I was told. There are so many agencies like NDDC, FEMA. There are so many of them that you can engage that will bring roads for your place. You don't need to spend money. You just a contact as a National Assembly member, which you can see that somebody who is an Abian or the senator is doing the same. It's not, people think it's magic. It's not magic. It's connection. It's business acumen, which he has. Some of our representatives, when they have the opportunity, unfortunately, they sell the project. But I tell you, the senator, instead of selling the project, he will even buy for his senatorial zone. So these are the issues we have. And these are, I know what I'm going to do already because I'm already in the system. I know how it works. I am a contractor with NDDC. I am a contractor with FEMA. I'm a contractor with other agencies. So I know how to go into all those agencies and make sure things are done. For that, which I have already mentioned, yes, we are all suffering for it. I can tell you that we've been very unlucky. I'm happy that the federal government has engaged the contractors again to start fixing the road from Ohafia to Hechiowa. But from Hechiowa to Aruchukwu is where we are having issues. And the reason is just very simple. The contractor that the road was given died, and he's a private businessman. So, and you know how the system works in government. To re-award the road becomes a problem. That's why that place is still like that. But I too believe that something is being done about it. But even if nothing is done, the advantage we have is that I'm from Ututu. And there's no other road that I will apply to go to my place apart from that road. So it will be a problem for me if I don't fix it. And I'm going to fix it. It's one of the first thing I'm going to do if it's not done now. It's one of the, because if I don't do it, my people will crucify me. They will stone me. And even me, I won't be comfortable applying that road because it's not really good. I passed through that road today. I know what I passed through. A road I can use like 10 minutes, use 30, 40 minutes. So it doesn't really make sense. So these are what we are going to do with our connection. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Chief. Again, you've demonstrated that you have insightful knowledge about some of these issues. But again, I also want us to focus on the business of lawmaking, the business of legislating and legislature. Some of these issues in the democratic setting are mostly solved using policies that address issues and essentially laws that helps to solve these problems. And in that area of issues, public issues and concerns, the youth in Ohafia and Aruchukwu federal constituency have been having issues with security unrest. I mean, there have been killings of young people in Ohafia. About a month ago, about 8 youths were killed, and those issues have continued to rise. And we've been advocating for the state police bill to be passed. So, what is your take on all of this? What are the bills you're going to be proposing? Do you have any bills you've created or you've formed or you've proposed? Do you have any plan to identify critical areas where you are interested in, where you are very passionate about, and then what are the bills you are likely to propose in those areas? What is also your take on the state police bill, which we feel that if that bill is actually passed and signed, that bill is going to help us have a better security system and make us hold even leaders at the state level more accountable, because according to the contents of that bill, the state governors are going to be in charge of the security architecture in their state. So what bills are you going to be proposing when you go to the National Assembly?
Thank you very much. For state police, you mentioned, I am in support of state police. As long as the state government will not take advantage of that, I am in support of state police. With what we are seeing today, we need state police. Because if we have the federal police we have is not enough to cover all the areas. So if we have state police, it means you have people that you know, people that are familiar to you, people that you can easily access, people you can talk to easily. So we need state police. I support that. Asking me for what I'm going to do, I'm not here to, I can't be here to answer all that question on that, because my legal team are already putting things together, which we are going to work on. Is when we are done, I will look at it and I will approve some. If there are things that I need to approve or disapprove, you will do them. So it will be at the public domain when we go there. But I won't be here to answer that. But we are really working on it.
Okay, so what is your assessment of the current state of Ohafia Arochukwu Federal Constituency? If you were to rate the current level of representation in Ohafia Arochukwu Federal Constituency, what score are you going to give the level of representation?
Well, I don't like talking about other people, but I'm going there to do something different. The Federal House of Rep, Honorable Konkole, is my very good friend. I supported him when he first contested 2015. I has not hidden that fact. He says it anywhere he goes, and I supported him. He has done his bit. He has tried his best. But when we go there, we see the difference. That's when you can now assess. But here, I'm not going to castigate anybody or talk against anybody. I can say that he has done his best as a House of Rep who is going to serve for 8 years. But I'm going there to take over from him, and then you see the difference.
All right, thank you so much. You may have observed that we're getting questions because we have this streamed live, and we have members of the constituency participating, sending their questions and comments. That's the reason why we're getting some of these questions. And as the candidate aspiring to represent these people, it's only fair that we get to make you feel their pulse and address some of the issues that are very, very peculiar to them. So just to follow up on some of the conversations we've had so far, again, I'm also looking at the security architecture of Ohafia Federal Constituency, Ohafia Local Government Area, and essentially Arochukwu Local Government Area. We've had this continuous spike, and I'm happy you mentioned that you are fully in support of the state police. But at this particular point in time, what are your thoughts? What have you been able to do to address some of these security challenges? And what do you think essentially you're going to be doing to improve or contribute to whatever it is the government is going to be doing eventually before or after the state police bill is passed?
When I started this conversation with you, I made mention that the problem we have with the youth restiveness is because of unemployment. And I did say that if I go into that office, I am going to make sure the youth are fully empowered and employed. And I tell you, if we have this in place, all this thing will stop. But however, what we are seeing today is not something that we should be happy about. But the point is that these youth, these boys in the bush are not spirits, they are human beings. People know them. I have also been able to engage some community leaders in Ohafia because they need to call them. They are their children. They need to call them. There should be peace. The army might not be right, they might be right. The boys might not be right, they might be right. But they need to call them to order. They need to call a meeting. Let them call these boys and ask them to cease fire, because it's not helping us. Whether I like it or not, what we are losing economically in Abian and even in the whole South is in billions daily. and nobody is happy about it. So it is high time we call our children to order. We call them and engage them, meaningful engagement. If it's possible to call them and talk to them, call the army and talk to them, and have an understanding. Let this thing stop. But I tell you, we can do this, I can stop for a while, even though it's the duty of the state government to handle security. It is the duty of the state government to handle security. The governor of the state is the chief security officer. So he's the one that should be able to call these people and do all this, or engage people, the youth, the community leaders through the local government chairman. I don't know if he's doing that. I am not in government. But that is what I feel should be done right now. But on a long run, the best solution is to engage them. The best solution is to empower them. If you look at what happened in Niger Delta, when there was kidnapping, oil pipeline vandalization, Yar'Adua came on board and he brought out what we call amnesty. He was able to curtail all that. Some of the youth were sent overseas. Some were sent to schools here and there. And people were able to have peace in Niger Delta. But those youths were causing trouble. But when they were engaged, the trouble ceased. It's not magic, it's not rocket science. So that's the way I look, that's the way I feel we can do it. The youth are our children, we know them. How do we stop this? We engage them. We talk to them. We appease them. But on a long run, we engage them by making sure that they have what they are supposed to do, making sure that they are employed, making sure that they are empowered. Those that are not in school can be sent to school on scholarship. When these are done, there will be peace. That is why I started by saying that the system is the problem. The government is also the problem. But God will use us to change the narrative in our Chukwuohafia Federal Constituency when we go there.
All right, thank you so much for that insightful feedback, Chief. So just as we wrap up this conversation, so this is a tricky question, and because we are committed to fairness and equal representation, so we want to find out, Chief, what happens if you lose this election?
I'm not a desperate politician. I'm not desperate. Let the electorate decide. The electorate, if they say they don't need me, I will go to my house and sleep, and I'll eat 3 square meal. I'll drink my champagne. I'll be a happy man. Because this is enough stress already. It's enough stress already. Yes, it's enough stress. I am not going there to make more money for myself. Yes, I like money. Everybody likes money. But my major focus is to help the youth, to help the women. So if they say they don't want me, they don't need my help, I will go home and sleep and rest. Maybe I travel overseas and cool off. My kids are not here. They are all studying there. I'll go and stay with them. But I am going there to make sure I change the narrative. I am going there to empower them. I'm going there to make them happy. So let them decide. If they want progress, they should vote us.
Thank you so much, Chief, for very, very, very insightful session. So at this juncture, we want to give you the opportunity to address members of Okeke and Orochukwu Federal Constituency. Progressive Urban Youth has been in the mix of civic engagement, sensitization, and advocacy for people to participate in the elections and get involved in the process of nation building. We actually had a very solid partnership with some NGOs, the likes of African Primary Healthcare Foundation, Nigerian Physicians Advocacy Group, Ready to Lead Africa, and Organization for Impact and Reform, and some of these other organizations that are trying to do some things to improve our system in Nigeria. So, but we've come to understand that our people are not really interested in the process of elections. In fact, we had to take members of Progressive Urban Youth to the communities in all the 17 local government areas to ensure that people got registered, because before we came in, as at February this year, ANEC was only able to register just 55,000 voters in the whole of Abia State between June last year and January this year. And then we came in to solve that problem, and eventually we were able to add about 74,000 voters to the register thanks to that coalition and partnership we had with INEC. But there's still a problem. People are not picking up the PVCs. In 2019, we had more than 400,000 PVCs uncollected in Abia State alone, and that number has not decreased. Today, if anything, it has increased. So, what is your message to members of Okeke and Arochukwu constituency? Because all of this advocacy, all of this canvassing, all of this presentation would be meaningless if the voters, if the electorate do not take responsibility to pick their PVCs and eventually get involved in the process to vote. Because now we're not just saying that people should vote, we're saying that people should vote and stay to monitor the vote, they should monitor the process, and with the electronic transmission of votes, they should flow through the process from the start to the finish. So what is your final word to members of Okeke and Federal Constituency in this regard to ensure that they participate in the process and they eventually make the right choice for the constituency?
Thank you very much. I want to appeal to my people in Arochukwu and Federal Constituency to go and take their PVC, to go and vote. What you experience is what I also experience. I have spent millions of naira engaging people to register. Most times I even go outside the state to register and make sure they transfer to our place. People are not interested, but sometimes you don't blame them. Vote never counted. So they are tired, the youth are tired. But if there is any gift the president of this country has given us, is the electoral law that he signed, where votes we count. So I am appealing to my people in Arochukwu Okeke local government that this time around, votes will surely count. They should go and take their voters card. They should come en masse and vote and make sure that their vote counts. Because if they don't vote, the thieves, the robbers will still have their way. And they will keep complaining. If we want to stop complaining, especially the youth, we must come out, take our PVC, which is our weapon, to remove the bad governance, to remove the bad leaders, and make sure the right people are in government.
All right, thank you so much, Chief. It's been a very, very wonderful session with Chief Daniel Chimezie Okeke, who is the APC candidate for Okeke Arochukwu Federal Constituency. And his charge is what I'm trying to eliminate at this point. I'm adding my voice to say, go out there, get your PVCs, and get ready to vote. Be part of the process. 2023 is a very critical time, and we as an organization, as an embodiment of first-class youth across the 19 of Abia State, we are doing our bit to ensure that you are informed, that you know about these candidates who are aspiring to represent you. And for the first time that we participate in this effort to move our state from where it is to where it should be. And this is a walk to good governance. We're going to be doing this for the rest of this campaign season and beyond, and we're following through the process. And Chief, today is a historic day. This is the first time that Abia youths are coming together to pioneer this initiative. And I want to put this out to you that everything we have discussed with you is on record. And if the youths and eventually the people of Okeke Arochukwu constituency elect you into office, we're going to be holding you accountable to every statement, every word, and every proposition that you've made tonight. And on this note, I want to thank our viewers, Abia youths across board, Abia youths in Okeke, Abia youths in Arochukwu. It's our state, it's our nation, and it's only us that can make it great. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. My word is my bond, and thank you for having me.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Yeah, God bless you.